Our April 26, 2021 meeting is now called to order. We would have invocation by Councilman PT and then Pledge of Allegiance. And we actually have a flag in the presentation. There was a class from East Natchitoches Elementary School that's going to be leading us in the pledge today.
Could you stand and please bow your head? Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord God, for allowing us to gather here on today. God, we thank you for the mayor and the members of the council and our department heads. God, I pray that you continue to bless them, Lord God. God, we thank you for wisdom, Lord God, and knowledge, Lord God, to work to make this city better, Father. We pray, Lord God, that you continue to lead us, and we just give you the praise and the glory. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Full place. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go Eagles!
All right. The 4-H Club. Okay, next item on the agenda is the reading and approval of the minutes from our April 12th meeting.
I so moved. A second.
Okay, good.
Was that to dispense with them, or is?
I moved to dispense with the reading of the April 12th minutes.
Is there a second on that? Okay. So a motion has been made to dispense with the reading of the minutes and to accept the minutes as they are read. Any comments or questions, council? Any public comments or questions? All right, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, thank you. That motion carries. Next item on the agenda, we're going to have some guest speakers to come, but before they come, let me see. Mr. Joe Osborne and Joe Givens, you're here? All right, before you come, we have a short little video. Some of you may have watched this. Here's just some, I guess, new technology, Parmesan soil stabilization product. And there's a short little video we just want to share with you, and then we'll allow you all to elaborate and want people to ask questions if they have them.
Permazyme is a unique soil stabilizer that stabilizes your soil, stabilizes your budget, and stabilizes your future. Used worldwide, Permazyme has aided the construction of unpaved and paved roads as well as lakes and ponds for over 40 years. The application process is simple. Rip up your soil using a grader. Apply the Permazyme with a water truck, then compact the soil with a compactor. Once the soil is dry and fully cured, the road becomes a concrete-like surface and dust is greatly reduced. Using Permazyme to treat the road subbase will help reduce your paved road construction costs by up to 80%. When used for unpaved roads, Permazyme eliminates the need for regular maintenance. You can ensure that your unpaved roads will last longer than 10 years and paved roads will last longer than 30 years with no environmental impact. Visit substrata.us to learn more.
All right, short little video there. So I'm going to ask that Mr. Joe Osborne and Joe Givens, if you two or one or both of you, however you're going to
Mayor,
do
may I
it.
say while they're coming forward, I was at the parish council meeting on last Monday, and these gentlemen were there. And so I was very impressed with what they said, and I asked them to be here tonight to talk to the council people and people listening about this product. So go ahead, Mr. Joe Givens. And
I'm Joe Osborne, and this is Joe Givens. I started out looking for something to fix my driveway in my house, because the cost of gravel, I'd have to have like 6 or 8 loads of gravel in my house, which is about $600 or $700 a load.
Mr. Osborne, I'm sorry, if you don't mind speaking more directly in the mic and give him a little more volume if you need.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, can you pull up a little bit to the microphone? Yeah.
Okay. But the cost to do gravel on my driveway was gonna be real expensive, so I got to looking around and I found this Permazyme. And I can do my entire driveway with less than a gallon of Permazyme and then working the soil the way you're supposed to, and it would cost me $500. So rather than spend $3,000 or $4,000 on gravel, I can do my whole driveway with Permazyme for less than $500. So then I sent it to Joe, and he was doing research, and I did some research, and then we passed it on to the Natchitoches Parish at the meeting last week, and then we were asked to come over here and share it with y'all. So Joe's got some information he can share as well.
Good afternoon. Thank you, first of all, thank you for letting me speak to the city council. Again, like Joe said, he and I both are just constituents of the parish. And we've been hearing so much about the budget. And we don't have enough money. And trust me, I understand budgets and how they work. So what we did was, Joe called me up and he said, hey man, I got this stuff right here. Let's check it out. So by no means am I a civil engineer. My discipline is an electrical engineer, but I can actually get into reading the data and understanding how it works. What this stuff does is it uses clay, which we have a lot of here in this parish, a lot. And you can take the clay, which has a positive charge, and the enzyme, which has a negative charge, and they bind together to create a cement-like surface. This stuff is being used overseas right now in some third world countries, and they're building highways miles long. Now, the cost of that in Louisiana would be staggering to do 100 miles of overlay, because the average cost of 1 mile of overlay in Louisiana without shoulders is $330,000 a mile. We have in this parish right now 818 miles with a $3 million budget. It would take you I think it was like 147 years to do the whole 818 miles if you wanted to overlay it and do the whole thing again on the budget we have. So we went into the stuff, and I called some of the people that actually use it. I'm not just going to take the manufacturer's word. That's just me. So I began to call these highway directors. Abilene just did a section around their airport, which would have cost him, he said, approximately $20 or $30 million. It ended up costing him right around $40,000 to put this stuff on their roads. He said right now they add a little bit of lime with it, and it holds the dust down, it doesn't washboard, it doesn't pothole, and they guarantee it for 10 years. Money back guarantee if it doesn't work the way you want it to. If you want to say, boom, I don't want to use this no more, I want my money back. It's not working for me. They say they will give your money back to you. That's their claim, not mine. It's on their site. And this is something that you could possibly use, according to the lady who, the salesman, said that you could use this, some of them are actually using it to do potholes with. They're making a slurry of it with a percentage of this, a percentage of that, and filling potholes up. I called up, can't think of her name, she was the highway director in Minnesota, upper Minnesota, which is comparative to us as far as humidity goes. And the humidity up there, just like here, but in the temperatures are a lot colder. They shift and they freeze these holes, they expand them. They started putting this stuff in it, and she said she's fixed a road with it and has had no problem with it over the past 4 or 5 years. They have one road that they use to put chip seal on, and this is their claim. It's been there for 30 years and has not potholed, has not washboarded. That's the claims they're making. So this stuff works. The way they say it works, it could really help your budget. Right now, to put this stuff in, just to buy the enzyme, is right at $6,000 a mile. Plus the cost that you need a sheep roller, a flat roller, a water truck, and a grader. And a grinder if you're going to grind the road up and use the refuse from the roads. So, little did I realize that this stuff right here would create such a talk in Natchitoches Parish. My phone has been blowing up with people wanting to know about it. I want to put it in my driveways because you can buy it yourself for, I think 5 gallons is right around $1,900. Is it 500? I'll pay $500 for a gallon of it. You can treat your entire drive with that. I think it's a half mile. Each 5 gallon goes a half mile. No, I take it back. Each 5 gallon goes a 12-foot by a third of a mile per gallon. this is something that possibly Natchitoches could use. I have all the information here, and I have no ties to these people whatsoever. People have been saying, oh, well, are you a salesman? No, I'm not. I'm a retired disabled veteran that used to be an electrical engineer and was trying to find a way to help my parish. Because I, too, have been changing front ends on my car and my truck, and it's cost me a lot of money. So I have some information here to give to the parish. I have the MSDS. There's zero environmental impact. Zero. It doesn't harm the environment. It doesn't harm the people using it. So I have the MSDS, and I have the technical data of how this stuff works if you guys want to look it over. So I don't know who to give this to. And again, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come here and explain to you maybe this could be something that would help the city of Natchitoches to make their roads better.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to take any questions?
Sure.
Are you able to do it? Council, y'all got anything?
Mr. Gibbon, didn't you say, the other day I saw you, didn't you say that they're gonna do a test run somewhere in the parish of this on a road?
Yes, yes. The last I understood is it's still going to be Sylvester Road.
Yes.
They're going to do a third of a mile on Sylvester Road, absolutely free to the parish. They're going to come out. All we have to get would be the rollers and the equipment. They're going to put a third of a mile out, let it sit. I think the cure time is 72 hours. Then you can drive big trucks, whatever, cars across it. Right after you put it on, you can have small, light traffic go across. But after 72 hours, it's so hard, a 90,000-pound log truck can go across, according to them. So we're going to try that. We're going to stress it to the max and see what their claims.
Yes,
Anybody can break
yes.
something, trust me, it'll be us.
Yeah.
We can break.
Hopefully the contractors we use will be looking at this. But they want to make money,
Well,
but
they're not paying you anything, but they need.
Not a
to.
dime.
They need to, is what I'm saying.
I would be happy to go. Like I told the people in the parish, we'll go there and look in my records, my financial records. You will not see a dime coming from these people. It's just that I really am tired of bouncing across roads, and I'm the kind of person, being an ex-vet, Air Force, I take no for an answer. I don't take no for an answer. I will find a solution. But there's a will, there's a way. I just got so tired of hearing people complain, and never have a solution. I'm going to get up here and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to tell you, fix my roads, fix my roads. Okay, how? I mean, when I started to go into the budgets and look at them, there's no money. I mean, our budget's from 1978. Let's see, I made $148 a month in the Air Force in 1980. Okay, right now, they make approximately $3,000 a month at the same pay grade. So it'll show you inflation from then to now. You know, and then we used to also have funds matching our parish. Those were cut around Katrina, weren't they? I think around Katrina they were cut. So basically inflation and a cut budget, I mean, I looked and I saw, you know, I knew what was happening. You know, we had no money for these roads. So this is why I did what I did. So hopefully this can help the parish.
and the city. Okay.
That was good.
Thank you.
Finding a solution.
Excuse me, I think, Mr. Holman, you,
Complaints about it, but nobody has any solutions on how to fix it.
right.
So that's when I found this stuff, I thought, well, here's a solution. So I passed it on in hopes that, because if it benefits me, it benefits everybody.
Everybody.
Because everybody is complaining about the roads. Yeah, they're in bad shape. Okay, let's fix them, but let's find a solution to fix them. It's easy to say, get the paving machine out there and pave it. Yeah, that costs money.
Lots.
Mr. Holm?
Yes. The parish, as I understand, was going to do this third of a mile test. Do you know when they were going to do that, or should I go back to the operation?
That goes back to John Richmond. I spoke to Mr. Richmond. He said, I'll contact them. They're going to coordinate their times and stuff.
Oh, okay, good.
So John would be the one to contact and tell you exactly when they're going to test this stuff.
Yeah, because when you get it down, the council members might want to go look at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can give
By all
you the
means.
saleswoman gentleman's.
We need to go.
Phone number, and if there's any questions the city may have in an application, because it can be used on more than just roads. I mean, people actually use this to make ponds with, that will hold water, it doesn't seep. They build up embankments with it because it doesn't fall to the side. They fill potholes with it. They build roads with it. Anything that you can bind clay together with in a concrete-like structure, you can use this stuff. And even in potholes, yes, even in potholes.
And look, I know you don't work for the company. Any downsides you're familiar with at this point with this technology or product?
From what I understand, I read the pros and the cons, and some of the cons are it takes a little extra time as to where you can overlay in a day. This takes 3 days to totally set. I'd be willing to wait 3 days or barricade something up for 3 days versus paying a phenomenal amount of money versus a minimal amount and get the same results. Because right now you can put fly ash and this stuff in these potholes. That's what they had in front of my house. And first rain, it's gone. It was gone. And it's back to the, you know, it actually washboard. So it's back to the BMW test track in front of my house. Yes, it gets pretty rough.
I think you have another.
Do you put it down over the existing surface?
No, sir. Which surface are we talking about? We talking about a sloppy road?
Yes.
Oh, sure. You mix it up. You have to grind it, mix it up with the sloppy road. And then you go over with a sheep's foot roller, and you go over it with a flat roller.
But you put it on top of, say, an existing asphalt surface?
You grind the asphalt up,
Okay.
and then you mix that with.
So you have to mix the old surface and do something with it?
Yes, sir. You have to mix it with something. It has to be at least 13% clay. I would venture to say we have a lot of soil around here that's more than 13% clay.
I mean, if you had a concrete road, asphalt road, you have to tear that out and mix it up,
Yes, you would have to rip it up.
rip it up.
If you want to go back with a similar surface, you would put chip seal on it. You would grind it back, grind it up, mix it with the Parmesan, let it sit, and then chip seal it. And like I said, there's a road that's been there 30 years with chip seal. That's their claim.
The cost of grinding up the old surface.
Yes,
Yeah, okay, I was just like,
sure. And again, the grinding cost, and then putting that back in, you don't have to buy anything else. You can put your old road back in there and mix it up with this stuff. If you have a sloppy, like a driveway from here to, say, the other side of the courthouse, it's so sloppy you get stuck in, well then, you just put the Parmesan in and mix it up and drive across it. And it's guaranteed not to washboard, pothole, anything. It holds its switch form.
she said you said that, but I don't hear it. But
Oh, okay. Well, I'm from the office, I talk funny anyways.
Well, look, we're grateful for your time tonight, and we'll certainly be looking for word, that test section in the parish, and I think it is a good idea for all of us to go take a look.
And if Mrs. Smith had any more questions about it, if you want to contact them, have them come out to the parish. Because I did let them know I was coming to speak to you guys, and she said, okay, great. They've been contacted us, and we'll be happy to, you know, if you want to individualize with them like the parish. So I'll be
Thank
happy to
you.
give you that information.
Okay?
We'll be in touch.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank y'all so much, okay?
Again,
We
thank
really
you,
appreciate it.
folks. Thank you.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, item number, the next item on the agenda is number 30, Councilwoman at-large Smith.
Yes, Mayor, this is a proclamation declaring May 2nd through 8th, 2021 as National Travel and Tourism Week in the city of Natchitoches. Whereas the power of travel has been a consistent driver of Natchitoches economy and workforce, whereas a robust travel industry has provided significant economic benefits for the nation, generating more than $2.6 trillion in economic output last year, with $1.1 trillion spent directly by travelers in the United States. And whereas travel has been the foundation of a healthy workforce, serving as one of the largest private sector employers in the U.S., supporting 17 million jobs in 2019. Whereas travel and tourism dependent businesses and organizations, 83% of which are small businesses, are responsible for welcoming visitors from all around the world to explore Natchitoches and all our state and country have to offer. Whereas visitors to Natchitoches Parish produced nearly $110 million in spending in 2019, an increase of 5% over 2018, and generated $13.7 million in state and local taxes. Whereas the travel industry cannot recover without the full return of leisure and business travel, as well as meeting and events by both domestic and international visitors. Whereas the rebound of travel will drive the rebuilding of the United States economy and American workforce. Whereas the power of travel will continue to revive and grow Natchitoches, Louisiana, and the United States, and drive us forward to a more prosperous future. Therefore, I, Mayor Ronnie Williams, Jr., do hereby proclaim May 2nd through 8th, 2021, as National Travel and Tourism Week in the city of Natchitoches, and urge the citizens of Natchitoches to join me in recognizing the critical role this industry plays in Natchitoches. And this is presented this 26th day of May to Ms. Kelly. Is someone here from the Tourism Department?
Yeah, she is, but I guess,
Go ahead.
oh, no, you go ahead.
So I just want to declare this May 2nd through 8th as National Tourism Week, Ms. Kelly.
Is there a motion?
And move for the
oh.
acceptance of the proclamation.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any comments, council, or questions? Public comments, questions? I mean, we have Mrs. Councilwoman at Large Smith said we have Mrs. West here today, Ms. Kelly West. Do you have any remarks you'd like to make? We will take a picture.
Come to the podium.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you, Wendy.
State your first and last name, Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly West. I'm Director of Marketing and Communications for the Natchitoches Convention and Visitors Bureau. And we thank the council for recognizing May 2nd through 8th as National Travel and Tourism Week. This is an annual designation that's seen nationwide. And of course, this year is more important than probably any other year coming out of 2020 and the devastation to the travel and tourism industry due to the pandemic. We here in Natchitoches have been very lucky. We've seen a return of visitors, a return of occupancy in our hotels and bed and breakfast and RV parks, our attractions, people visiting our attractions and restaurants. A lot of locations around the country are not as lucky. So this year we are truly celebrating National Travel and Tourism Week because of the power that it has for our community. We definitely saw that over the last year looking at other communities around us. So thank you very much.
Well, Kelly, I think thanks is in order to you and the whole staff over there at the CVB for all of the work you all do in, bringing people to Natchitoches and just, continue to do the great work you're doing. All right?
Thank you very much.
On behalf of the mayor and the city council, we want to present this proclamation to you and would ask if you would meet us over here and take a picture. Thank you.
Hey, we'll come on. We'll come to this side. All right. Any more public comments about this proclamation? Anything else? Okay, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. The next item on the agenda is up for final. That's item number 20, Councilwoman at Large Washington Eli. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number of 2021. The ordinance authorized the mayor of the city of Natchitoches to award the bid of the LWC grant improvement of the peak of Natchitoches. Park Natchitoches. Thank you. And whereas the bid was advertised in the Natchitoches time of March the 11th and March the 18th and March the 25th of 2021, according with the law. And the bid was awarded to DSW Construction LAC. And now therefore be ordinance that the Honorable Ronnie Williams, Junior Mayor, hereby authorized and empowered to direct and sign all documents as necessary for acceptance of this bid. And I move to adopt resolution ordinance number 002 of 2021.
Second.
Okay. I believe we may have spoken on this to this particular item on last time, but council, if you got any comments or questions about it this week, this was, being final, was introduced the last meeting. Any public comments?
Yeah, I just want to ask, well, Randy's not here tonight.
No, he's there.
He's here? Oh, you're hiding, Randy. I can see you. How is the equipment coming out there? I saw one playground equipment out there so far.
If you're referring to the playground equipment, that was the unit that we obtained through a game time grant where they paid for half, they donate half the cost of the equipment. That was installed and completed this past Wednesday, and then we hauled a couple of loads of topsoil in, and we're going to put some sod around it so the kids aren't walking in a muddy area when they go to it. That had nothing to do with the current grant that is being awarded under Land and Water Conservation Fund. We have 3 sets of playground equipment going in as part of that. 2 are in the area where the bathroom will be built next to the public parking as you come in on your left, and 1 set will be built down by the batting cage inside the baseball complex.
Okay. All right, thank you.
No more public comments or questions? All right, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item on the agenda is item number 21, and that's you, Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. I will read this in title only as it was introduced at our last council meeting. Ordinance number 21 of 2021, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches, Louisiana, to enter into an amended cooperative endeavor agreement with Natchitoches Historic Foundation, which will provide to the relocation of the Rock House, provide for the completion of the downtown Riverwalk, provide for the lease of the ground upon which the Rock House is to be relocated, and provide for the use of the facilities by the parties, providing for advertising, further providing for a severability, and further providing for a repealer and effective date of ordinance. And I move that we adopt ordinance number 21 of 2021.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. I don't know who we'll give credit to.
Mr. Harrington.
Okay.
I yield.
Okay, we'll give it to Councilman Harrington. All right. Council, you got any comments or questions? I do see Mr. Ben Barron, you're here today. Do you mind giving us a little brief? Yeah, that's right, Mr. Barron. We're going to actually come to the microphone and kind of share with us, as brief as you can. I know you're really excited about it, so.
I think what I'm most excited about.
I'm sorry, please state your first and last name, just for
Yes,
the viewing
thank you.
audience.
My name is Ben Barron. I'm chair of the steering committee with the NHL. And we've been working about 18 months up to this date We spent many, many hours researching, talking to people. We have partners across all the preservation groups in Natchitoches. They've given us their input, and we're well down the road. Right now, we're in a design phase, and we have design points going across all different ways to use the house and what will happen to the house after we've finished. I think one of the greatest things I can share with you is I feel like that restoration of the Rock House is one of those items that has kind of the wind of Natchitoches at its back. Everybody we've talked to, excited about it, want to be a part of it. They're terrifically going to enjoy it. And people, we have people walking by that Rock House all during the day, looking through the windows, wanting to get in, and we're going to make it available to get in. So this is about where we are with it. Now, in going into greater detail, if you know me very well, I got a lot of stuff to say about a lot of things that would use up too much of your time. But if you have some questions, I'd be delighted to answer them for you.
Any questions for Mr. Barron? He's pretty much leading that project. I think it's safe to say you know more than just about anybody in terms of what's going to happen with the Rock House.
Yes. We have a rough timeline. I was on the phone this afternoon with the lead architect, Brian Hume from Tipton Associates out of Baton Rouge. We're entering a design phase now that should complete about in October. Now, along the design phase, we're going to have some meetings in Natchitoches for people to see what we're doing. Very open about it, very open about it. We'll share it with anybody what we're doing. We should finish the design phase about the middle of October. About the middle of November, we'll all get together and show up a spade of dirt and say we're on the way. We think we're looking at about a 7 to 8 month completion date to finish about October the 15th of 22. We're pushing everybody to be off that riverbank before we hit our Christmas season of 22. Now, this Christmas season, we're going to be kind of out of the loop. We'll be busy. Now, part of our project is in 2 phases. The first phase is to address the Rock House. We're going to have to move it. We're going to move it so it faces the river and back it as far against that bank down there as we can. What we're trying to do is get out of the water. Now, people say, well, it's on the banks of the Cane River. No, it's on the Cane River bed. That's the bed of the river. The bank is up on that street up there. Now, if you remember right, when they built the stage downtown, we had to drive pilings in, I don't know what, 20 feet? And we worried that they're going to shake up all the bricks on Front Street. Well, we've got to get below that sediment to make sure years from now that house does not settle. We're trying to restore it to as much the way it was in 1803 as we can. Now, we've made the motion and we've approved on the steering committee that we're going to keep the elevations as you see them now. We want to keep the Rock House the way it looks now. But we're going to get rid of the bathroom. We're going to have a support structure out behind it. In 1803, you didn't find many houses like this with kitchens in the house. They tended to burn down, so they were out back. Well, we're going to use that concept, and that support structure, which will be a separate little entity out back, will be to handle all the mechanical. We're not going to do it in 1803 without air conditioning. We're going to air condition it, going to heat it, electricity. We'll put it up on pilings and try to put all the electrical under the house and not go through the top where you see it. Now, we'll follow things about, alarm systems and water that come on. We'll try to scab up along the sides so you don't see it. We're going to try to keep the house the way it looks when you went into it in 1803. We furnished that way. We have ideas to have virtual televisions that we walk in the front door. It'll be on a loop that continues to play like at the museum, Second World War Museum in New Orleans. That's just wonderful. We're going to have that. Now, the steering committee is wrestling through opinions. We get more opinions you can count coming at us. I have some opinions, and some of us on the steering committee, we want to make sure this house is open when we finish. Now, we're not going to rent the structure out. It's not going to be big enough to rent out. We've got other places in town to rent out. The only way you can rent the Rock House will be a part of Beaujardin. They will handle all of that. It will be a part of whatever they do and what the city does with that area. Really excited, and that the second phase of the project is the completion of the downtown riverbank. From the boathouse there all the way over behind Maglio's has not been completed. So we've got the funding, we've got the design points, we're working with the city. We've had Jill Leo tell us what they need. I even talked to merchants the other day. He said, I'm glad you told me I was about to plant 300 plants down there. I said, don't do it. Let that be a part of our design. Because we work flower beds to make it look absolutely beautiful. Some things we're going to do to the riverbank will help them rent it. For example, they need a place that they call the stage area. Does not look like the stage downtown, but an area that's concreted with pavers and flat. But right behind it will be all the hookups for electricity. They just open the cabinet and open it. Right now, it's hung off a pole behind Maglio's with the city current. The city's done a good job providing it. At the end of this separate house we're calling a cabinet, we're going to put a whole wall of electrical outlets. So when people come down and rent it, they have all the electrical needs, all the items they need to enhance renting. Another item we're going to do, we're going to build a beautiful walkway from about the end of the parking lot over to where the waterfall is. That will be a little curving that looks like a beautiful walkway, but really what it is a driveway in disguise. Part of the problem now, if you rent the riverbank, be prepared to haul all your stuff down those stairs. It's difficult to do. We want to fix it where when you rent it, if you know the walkway, it'll have the underpinning and take care of a truck, a van that'll drive around to where you are. We're also going to provide in that cabinet a spot that the Bourgeois can put tables and chairs right down on the riverbank that it can help rent it out. I didn't realize until I got into this, they're getting people from Texas all over the place to rent that riverbank for weddings. It's got a pretty long shadow it's casting, and we're going to help it do that. We're working real tight with Jill Leo and Idley and everybody in Natchitoches to make sure we do at that riverbank what the city of Natchitoches wants done, not just us. It's a city building. Now, I tell everybody, I'm excited that what we're really doing is the Natchitoches Historic Foundation is restoring a circa 1790s house, French Creole design, built in 1803 by a freedman of color on our riverbank, right in the middle of town. We don't have a lot of structures that we've restored in the United States of people that did not have the money to build a gigantic plantation. This is not a plantation house. House was not built by a slave. This house was built by a freedman for his family. Now, that exact story we're researching right now. When I go to the internet, I get a half a dozen different stories about this date, this time, this what happened. So we've employed somebody, a historical researcher, to go through all the records, to interview people downriver, to make sure we got the real story of the Rock House, who built it and why. And we want to make sure that the people of Natchitoches realize this is our house. Our house. It's not built by a bunch of rich people somewhere. This is ours. And we sure want everybody in town to become a part of it. I could keep going, but I better stop. I don't want to be run out of here my
Mr.
first
Barron,
meeting.
look, we do thank you for your passion. I told you he was real passionate about it. So we've met on a number of occasions, and I do appreciate your enthusiasm. Counsel, you good?
Do I dare ask a question?
Okay. If you can give us your briefest answer, Mr. Barron. Yeah.
Benny, you mentioned elevation and kind of blew past it. Is there any plan, I know we're going to turn it around, face the river. Is there any plan to raise it up a little bit?
Yes, Sue, yes. I have to give two short answers. One is codes call for that house to be 11.5 feet above that riverbed. Can't go there. If they make us do that, forget restoring it.
Right.
But we think we can get a waiver if we can move it back. When you move it back, just the elevation will put 2 feet above where it was before, which is about 4 feet above flood stage. Okay. But then we're going to elevate it another 3 feet, but then we want to feather the dirt out where it does not look like it's on foundation. It looks like it's on the dirt,
Good
but
idea.
it'll be up about 5 feet.
Perfect.
I tried to make it 2 words, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you did it. You got it out.
You did it. I think you did great.
Any other question? And people, let me say one thing. We're starting now. My name's Ben Barron, live right here in town, retired from Northwestern. It looks like all of us in NHF are going to be full-time on this. But people call us. If you're with a group, you don't have an answer, call us. We'll be glad to meet with you and your group and give you a good answer. We want everybody to know what's going on and be a part of it. So if there's something you don't know and you need an answer to, you call me. I'll be glad to get with you and give you a good answer, or make up one for you, either way.
There you go.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barron. All right, we got the motion, it's been seconded. Nothing else from council? All right, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item on the agenda is item number 22. Councilwoman Lloyd Smith.
Yes, Mayor, this is ordinance number 22, which was introduced at the April 12th meeting. And it is an ordinance of the City of Natchitoches, Louisiana, granted to Cantera Networks the franchise and rights to lay, construct, lease, and/or operate a cable optics transmission cable within the municipal boundaries of the city, and the right to use the present and future street, roads, highways, alleys, bridges, and public ways in such city and owned and controlled by such city for such purposes, prescribing terms and conditions to which such franchise and rights are subject, and prescribing the term of such franchise and rights. And I'll move for acceptance of this ordinance.
Second.
Okay, questions, comments, council?
Mr. Matt? In this ordinance, and we're allowing them to use our right-of-ways, do we still get some choices if they're gonna put in a big green discombobulator box on Front Street? Does that have to get cleared through us before it can go in?
Yes, before they install anything in the right-of-way, they have to apply for a permit.
Okay,
And we have to approve it.
okay, perfect.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, council? Any public comments? Yes, sir? And will you do that?
My name is Wayne Holm, and at the last meeting, I asked about it and I got confused. Is this a huge project? They're gonna be laying cables down a lot of streets, or is this just going to a few businesses? I don't know who to ask, I'm sorry.
I
What
think
understand,
either matter, Alex can take it.
They're
Yeah.
just actually going to one business right now.
It's going to one business.
Yeah, but when we talk to them, they do want to reserve the right to do more in the future. But right now, it's just one business.
All right, but are they planning or talking about residential service?
In the future, yes. They said they would like to serve residential homes.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holm. Okay. All right. And just, this one local business has another branch in Shreveport, but who they're using here did not extend up there, so that's why they need to have Cantera to come. All right?
And what business is that, Matt, if you don't mind?
I think it's one of the local banks.
One of the local banks, okay.
Mm-hmm. Okey-dokey. All right. Seeing there are no other public comments or questions, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yes.
Harrington, PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion also passes. Next item on the agenda is item number 23, Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 23 of 2021, a ordinance authorizing the mayor, Ronnie Williams Jr., to execute an instrument entitled Service Agreement, under which the city will contract for consulting and professional services for Merchant McIntyre and Associates, LLC, related to pursuing and obtaining federal funding. And I so move that ordinance number 23 be adopted.
A second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. We do have a few items that we didn't have the last time that's up here, but I did share that with council in terms of some of the funding achievements that Merchant McIntyre has had with other municipalities. You see a $14.1 million to the city of Lexington, Kentucky to construct a multimodal greenway. $12.9 million for a significant highway streetscape improvements and roadway realignment. That's in Pompano, Florida. $2.7 million for water and wastewater infrastructure to generate critical economic development. A whopping $140 million for authorization of the Elgin O'Hare Western Access Project. And so you see some others, even some things, a couple of them that, next bullet point, $1 million for road improvements in Franklin Park, $2 million for road improvements in the village of Colliers Joel, all right? And then $940,000 for law enforcement strategic technology program. So it's diverse in terms of the funding that they've been able to secure for their clients. And I'm hoping that a relationship that we have with them will be as beneficial. I've asked Mr. Kurt Swallow to come, kind of got the name, learn of this company from the work he's doing at NRMC. And I think I can say this without contradiction. Kirk Swallow has done an amazing job since his arrival at NRMC. The whole image, the culture has changed, pre-Kirk and then now Kirk. So this is just one of those, I mean, he let me have it, so I'm glad he informed us of it. But Mr. Swallow, if you would come and state your first and last name and just kind of share with us how you've worked with them, and if you want to share how you've benefited from the partnership.
My name's Kirk Swallow. I'm CEO of Natchitoches Regional. The mayor and I had a conversation some time back when we were bringing forth some grant opportunities we've been working on. We engaged Merchant McIntyre almost 2 years ago to assist us with grant funding. We just didn't have the bandwidth or capabilities internally to be able to write for federal grants. They are one of the premier firms that really focus on government relations, and they only work with not-for-profit and governmental agencies. They do not work for for-profit entities. Right now, we have about $9 million in grants right now that are on the table. We're working on with Merchant McIntyre. We've been awarded a $350,000 grant for telehealth. That has been funded, and we've already begun that work. We have a $3 million grant that's out of work. It's an EDA grant to build our Roblean Clinic. That's been proposed about 6 months ago in the most western part of the parish that will service West Natchitoches. We've acquired land, about 2.5 acres of land in the city of Roblean, where we would propose putting this clinic. So this would be an 80-20 grant. They would fund 80% of the $3 million to fund the grant, to fund the construction of the project. So for us, it's a big deal. Another one is, with the nursing shortage, we all struggle across the nation. We have developed, submitted a grant in January, a $2.2 million grant, 4-year, non-matching grant to assist us with recruiting and educating nurses in the community. We will find out in the probably next 30 days if we're going to get that grant or not. We have an EMS grant also for training and education and development. That's a $275,000 grant a year. That's a 4-year grant, non-matching. So we've utilized them to really help us drive our mission of taking care of the community. Our funding is limited. We do not use, the hospital does not use any public millages to fund. We are a self-sustaining organization. So anything that for us to be able to grow and to continue to grow, we have to utilize our own resources from patient services we provided. So this gives us an opportunity to significantly expedite some of the work and improving the health in the community. So.
Okay. You don't have any regrets with this relationship with Merchant McIntyre?
No, sir. Their commitment to us is that on an annual basis, the grant awards would exceed what we're paying, very similar per month for the grant work. They're extremely accessible. We have weekly calls with the team, and it's moving along at the pace. And they do a lot of the grant writing for us. We assimilate the information, and they put it together in the format that the federal government needs to get these approved. If you worked in the grant industry and are writing grants, they are very, very complex, and you got to dot your I's and cross your T's a certain way, or that grant gets rejected, doesn't even get considered. So it is well worth it for us to be able to utilize the resources of a firm like Merchant McIntyre that has a track record in helping governmentals and not-for-profit organizations get grant funding.
Any questions for Mrs. Swallow?
I just want to, no questions to Mr. Swallow, no.
How long have the NRMC been together with Merchant McIntyre?
We're approaching 2 years.
2 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you exceeded your grant, your payment
Yes,
the
sir.
first year? Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Swallow. Really appreciate
you.
your time tonight. Know you're busy. Okay. Any other comments, council?
Yeah, I just want to say, we met earlier this month, I believe it was, and we went to Monroe Mayor, myself, you, and Mike Fernand. And we met with some people in Monroe in reference to grant writing. And my understanding from them, what she just proposed with this company, they write grants, search for grants, and you don't pay them any fee. You only pay if you receive the grant. And I don't know why we would have to pay, what, $7,500 a month to write a grant. We can get a grant writers who's not going to charge us anything at all. And then I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know, you haven't told me yet, but I think Ms. Nicole Gray has been hired to write grants internally for the city of Natchitoches at a salary of about $34,000 a year, about almost $3,000 a month. And if she's going to write grant, why should we pay, we're paying her $35,000 a month, and then this company is $7,500 per month, and we can get a free grant written for nothing? I don't see the logic in that at all. And to pay someone that type of money for part-time work, when you have police officers don't even make that much per month. They're trying to work 2 jobs and extra duty to make $3,000 a month. I just don't think that's right at all. So that's my comment on it.
Well, I don't think when you say, when we went to West Monroe, it's not an apples to apples. That particular lady, Alex Holland, the Community Studios Group, they were looking for some type of strategic or master planning. I will say, as I mentioned the last time,
And I got an email from her with the work that they have done, the same type of work that Merchant McIntyre has done.
No, I don't think it's exactly the same type of work.
Same type work.
No, it's not. I mean, when I gave you
She
this
sent it to me,
information,
not
it's
you.
very detailed in terms of some of the sources that are provided to every member of the council, where they've gotten money from. Again, this is, like I said, $14 million here, 12.9 to do this project, $140 million to do that. We're looking at budget shortfall in terms of, let's say it like this. I think Debbie said the other day, a couple weeks back, that we're about 8% off, really due to COVID. And so we're looking, if we want to improve Natchitoches, I know the residents still have a desire to get things like street work done. We've got drainage issues, and we're just going to have some other sources of revenue to be able to meet those needs of the residents.
We have grant money coming in from COVID. What we're getting, what, $6 million, I want to say we're getting. The parish is getting $7 million. That money can be used for that. We can designate it for that. Of course, it has to be designated for certain things, but we're always talking about the streets. It could be used for that. But my point is this.
Well, I have a question, though. So, Ms.
I'm talking, Ms. Washington,
Councilman,
still. Thank you.
Lodge.
My
We could
point
pay,
is this, I don't think that we need to go into hiring a company at $7,500 per month when we have so many other issues. We say we have a shortfall in funds. You ask Ms. Debbie to check the budget. We have no money in the budget to pay officers or anything else, but then we have money to pay this kind of money per month to a firm. So where's the money coming from? Then we're paying this money for internal internal grants with Ms. Nicole Gray. I mean, come on, where's the money coming from? Do we have it?
Well, I mean, a shortfall or a reduction in revenue is just that. That doesn't mean we don't have any money.
Well, we're responsible for the citizens' money. So I think this is a misuse of funds for taxpayers. That's my take on it.
Well, yeah, you're entitled to your own opinion, but we'll say this. As Mr. Kirk Swallow, I think we could all agree he's done a fabulous job at NRMC, and he dropped the name of Merchant McIntyre. I mentioned Brandon Bookout from Minneapolis. Checked his reference. I think Ed Lee checked the reference, and Ed, you can share. I don't know if you shared. I think you shared last time that reference. I had Hannah check a reference as well. So we're not just saying we're going to jump on board. We've done due diligence. I think we've been on at least 3 calls I can think of with Merchant McIntyre. We've had internal deliberations about this as well. So we're not just jumping at this, the first time we're here. My goal is to generate more revenue for the residents of Natchitoches so that we can do some of these projects that otherwise we wouldn't be able to. All right? So again, $2 million in streets, $1 million in road improvements for another community. I think this will be a beneficial relationship. Mr. Bookout also noted that the first thing they do, that they're happy to do, that the council is happy to do, I can provide you his contact if you would like, they go ahead and pass the Merchant McIntyre contract because it's been so beneficial. I'm quoting him now. He said, it is our secret sauce as to why we've been so successful. They literally, with some type of economic organization, they literally would not be an organization without their relationship with Merchant McIntyre. So, I mean, we have, it's a 3-month deal, so there's an opportunity there. But again, I think it's going to be beneficial. I'm concerned about getting more revenue for the residents of Natchitoches so that we can take care of some of these things that otherwise our general fund just doesn't allow us to do. So that's the only purpose.
I understand that, but never mind.
If I will, can I speak on it? From my understanding, this is for like federal dollars, right, on a larger scale. I just want to see,
No,
is it just federal?
It's
Right.
federal, and the company that we met with was federal in Monroe, doing the same thing. And it's again, you're not putting out any money, you're not paying any money, and they seek federal grants.
Has it been researched at all or looked into? I know there are several companies that do, but I don't have enough knowledge of it, that do federal grants, that do it on a contingency basis, that once it's granted, they're paid, instead of being paid monthly. I don't know
Yeah,
if,
the one in Monroe.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's been looked into more.
If you get
or-
it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have. I mean, we've engaged Atlas Community Studios. And again, I think that they're not exactly the same in terms of what Merchant McIntyre does. Like I said, I provided counsel, in terms of their sources of revenue that they're going to. They have connections with these different departments, Department of Transportation, Department of Education, so forth and so on. And, I mean, are there others? Like I said, I think for me, what was big, Kirk Swallow, and the work he's done there, and for him to say this is a group we've used. In fact, what I know that Kirk said is that a part of what Mr. Lance Nelson, he's a recent hire over there, I mean, he basically hired a person to be the POC, the point of contact, for Merchant McIntyre here. So that's how serious, that's how beneficial, advantageous that Mr. Kirk Swallow sees Merchant McIntyre, that he's hired another person to say, look, you're going to be our point of contact. I don't think he's going to end that relationship anytime soon. You know why? Because it's been really beneficial, all right? They've gotten over, more than triple their investment already. And a lot of these grants are not even a match. He mentioned a 20 match, but there's a couple others I think that they're looking at. I think that one that he mentioned in about a month they're going to do in partnership with Northwestern is not a match. So, again, I think this, to me, it's a no-brainer to do this. Again, if you're concerned about generating more revenue finding more revenue for the residents of Natchitoches so that we can deal with drainage better, so we can deal with economic development. As I mentioned before, we are ideal, according to Merchant McIntyre and others, being an opportunity zone of getting the funding. They've gotten the most funding for their clients with people with our features, if you will, all right, being EDA distress and high poverty and all of that. So think about all the residents we can help in terms of economic development. We're talking about a water treatment plant as well, upwards of $17 million that we're gonna need to get money from. If we get more revenue from other sources, that's less that the taxpayers will have to carry. So again, I think it's wonderful. I think it'll work out. And Kirk sees the benefit within RMC. All these other references I provided to you, council, see it. I think it's gonna be great for us as well.
I'd like to motion to move 023.
Yeah, I think the motion has already been made and seconded, right? All right, I don't know if there are any other comments about this? All right.
Mayor, the only concern I have is that, and I like the program, I like the company, really wasn't crazy about the $7,500 a month. Kind of stepped out there on the edge, but then internally, we've added 35,000 on top of that for grants. And now we're up to, from 90,000 up to 125. That's serious money. And that, we need to think long and hard before we make that commitment.
Well, again, as federal sources, what Ms. Gray will be doing for us is private sources. Already submitted a grant, working on another grant for us as well on a private level. Again, there's these other streams of income. I just want us to be involved in the game. When you talk about cities, we look at cities that are doing well, and we say them. Two I've heard since I've been here. West Monroe, which we took a trip to, they've got people in D.C. advocating for them. They had a Miss Alex Holland in one area. We also mentioned Ruston. I talked to Mayor Ronnie Walker just the other day. He says not only does he have a lobbyist down in Baton Rouge, but he's got a similar lobbyist in Washington, D.C. And these services are not free, but they're getting these. There's a ROI. There's a return on investment.
Correct.
And there has been a significant return on investment with the clients of Merchant McIntyre. And again, I believe it's going to be the same for us. We got the 3-month window, but again, I think it's going to, I would just bring up that Minnesota company again, entity. That's the first thing they want to pass every year, that Merchant McIntyre agreement, to go ahead and get that done because it's been so beneficial for them.
I share the same concern as Mr. Nielsen, because then that comes out $7,500 a month, 30-something thousand a year, comes out to like $2,600 a month. So you're spending over 10 grand a month on bond farming when none of it's guaranteed, of course. And so that's just, yeah, you could get one big one and you kind of pay for itself, but what you net's, of course, going to be less because you're paying 10 grand a month. But you could get, you could not get it, and you're just paying 10 grand a month. I get what you're saying too, that you got to pay to play kind of deal. I know there's a lot out there that are free. Maybe it's worth looking more into. I don't know. This DC firm, I'm with Mr. Nielsen. It looks like could be a good deal. The $7,500 a month, it's hard to bite, but then over 10 grand a month is just, to me, is just spending too much on bond farming and as a whole. I know it's two different types, but it's just as a whole. That's something we didn't know about, but that'll come up again at the budget, voting on the budget next month, I know, but we might have to revisit it then. If the facts change and it's less of a monthly expense, then maybe this is something we can revisit in the future, this firm.
Well, I think that it's a time component, there's money being put in with the Biden administration. There are more funds out there. available. I think I mentioned to all of you that EDA was operating on about 150 million. Now they're about $1.5 billion. All right, so there's a whole lot of money that we can get, and if we're not in that, again, I think it's less, if NRC didn't have the relationship, they're not able to get this nurses program done. They're not able to do the Roblean deal that's gonna be critical. I mean, these are critical services that as we're looking, we're not able to get with what we're bringing in. And yes, in order to get little risk, little reward, much risk, much reward. So in order to get that investment, in order to get that return, I mean, you gotta be in there, you know?
I'm just wary of making risk with public funds. It's just, I'm not a risk taker to begin with. I don't even like playing with the stock market, so but with public funds, especially when it's not my money.
Well, again, it's a 3-month, the second line is a 3-month initial program. There's an opportunity to opt out if we're not liking what we're seeing in the first 3 months. I'm not saying they're gonna write some large grant, but there are certain things that they deliver. So, again, to me, it's, do you want more revenue for the residents of Natchitoches? That's where we are, basically. That's where we are. Got something?
Well, I just like the mayor added, the initial contract is the around 21,000. It's for 3 months before we enter into a long-term contract. So you have an opportunity to review it and kind of, make your decision from there before, like Eddie said, going into $80,000. So this is just an initial start. Give the mayor a snapshot on whether or not they can provide the services that he provided to the other entities that he mentioned. And yes, he does have Nicole Gray working for grants on the state side, and he have this contract on the federal side. And we all know there's a lot of money out there right now. And from speaking to him, he just want to take an opportunity to see whether or not he can get something negative. So actually, we discussed this being temporary for 3 months, and everybody here had this conversation, just like you all having a conversation with him. Can we do it temporary to see how it looked? And the mayor said, I want everybody to go out and check the sources and see what you come back with. And people around this table made phone calls, and we did get the positive responses, although we were kind of bucking the system, like, we were against it. And then we made the calls, and I mean, he have a speaker here to confirm it. So that's why we decided on 3 months, and then we can come back to the council. But it's your call. I just want to give you the background.
What can they do in the 3 months? I mean, they can't, that's not enough time for them to provide a bond and get it accepted for us, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, what would they, what's their plan on doing in 3 months to, I guess, to sell it to us?
Yeah. From the conversation we had, the 3 months would be for looking for the needs of the city. The mayor provided what needs we had, and they'll find the grants that's suitable for the city and tell them what our chances are, what they feel that we can do, and we'll go from there once they identify. And the other thing is, if we hire independent persons for this, although the city's investing in this situation, let's say $75,000 for a year, and that number may be off. But if we hire someone, we got to pay them each time. If they go out and get $1 million grant, that's $100,000. Another $1 million grant, that's $100,000. In this situation, we have a fixed fee for unlimited resources. So just want to add that while y'all thinking about it.
That's a good point. So yeah, there's some points in this service agreement where they say, to your point, Councilman Harrington, of some things that they'll be able to do in those first 3 months. Okay?
Does it come back before us after that to keep it, to redo the contract?
I think you get a council if you want to revisit.
Well, it says a 3-month deal.
It says 3 months in the
to be renegotiated. Does that automatically come back before us, or do you?
It's for 3 months. If the council, the will of the council is for this to come back in 3 months. You have another speaker that you brought back to give you an update on Hopeville. We can come back in 3 months if you want an update on what they found for the city. But it's council's will to do that.
Okay. Good. Any other questions, comments? Councilman Nielsen? No? Okay.
Any motion?
I think motion was made.
Yeah, motion was made and
We have a
seconded.
first and a second.
All right, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
No.
Smith,
No.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is introduction. That's you, Councilman Harrington.
Ordinance number 19 of 2021, an ordinance authorizing a franchise in favor of Cane River Paddle and Pedal Sports LLC to operate a rental boat business within the city limits of the city of Natchitoches, confirming the term of the franchise conditions and considerations for said franchise, and authorizing the mayor to execute the said franchise agreement on behalf of the city, providing for advertising, further providing for severability, and further providing for a repealer and effective date of ordinance. And whereas the city of Natchitoches and Cane River Paddle and Pedal Sports LLC entered into a franchise agreement and lease dated October 29, 2018, which was recorded November 2nd, 2018. And whereas the city and Pedal Sports have negotiated an extension of the franchise agreement for the purpose of continuing to allow Pedal Sports to operate a business offering boats for rent on Cane River Lake and allowing use of city public spaces, including parking areas and riverfront for its operation. And whereas further, the proposed extension of the franchise for a period of 1 year with 5 options of 1 additional 1-year term. And I move to adopt ordinance number 19 of 2021.
I second.
it's for
Well, it's
introduction.
introduction, I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's introduction.
It's for introduction. So, I don't know, council, if y'all got any questions or comments about this piece? You got something? Any public comments? Okay, yes, ma'am. Ms. Julia, will you state your first and last name, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. I'm Julia Coleman, and I am co-owner of Cane River Paddle and Pedal Sports. We have been here for 5 years now. Wow. On the river, we were the first people since a long time to be able to offer the opportunity for, tourists and our locals to be able to get on the river, enjoy our beautiful, beautiful river that we have to offer. And we are just so grateful that even through COVID, even though it was challenging, like we all said, it was challenging for everyone, our business somehow struggled through because we were at a point where people could social distance and still to get together with their families. We do everything we can to reach out and encourage not only our local community, but we go beyond that. We just had a huge organization come on Friday, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, and some of the council members for being present there to greet them. It was a very large Rebel Athletic Sportswear. They came with a group of little girls. They're ambassadors, and they were from all over the country. Those are things that each one of us as a small business can do and have done. We try to reach out beyond our community to greet and try to do as much as we can to not only promote our small businesses, but to promote the city of Natchitoches. So I just want to thank you all for being supportive of us. I've had a lot of the members, a lot of your families come and enjoy us and enjoy what we have to offer on the riverbank, and I thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Coleman, really appreciate it.
I think you had a nice turnout of visitors here down there on, last Friday, I believe it was? Yes.
All right, nothing else about that? Next item on the agenda is item number 24, Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 24, 2021, an ordinance adopting the millage rate for the tax year 2021. Be it ordained that the following millages are hereby levied on the 2021 tax roll on all properties subject to taxation by the city of Natchitoches. The millage public safety tax is 10 mills. General alimony tax is 7.3 mils. Total millage, 17.03 mils. Be it further ordained that the proper administrative officials of the parish of Natchitoches, state of Louisiana, they are hereby empowered, authorized, and directed to spread said taxes as hereinabove set forth upon the assessment roll of said parish for the year 2021, and to make the collection of the taxes imposed for and on behalf of the taxing authority according to law, and that taxes herein levied shall become a permanent lien and privilege on all property subject to taxation as herein set forth, and collection thereof shall be enforceable in the manner provided by law. The foregoing ordinance was read in full. The roll was called on the adoption thereof. And is that for introduction?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And not that anybody would think it, this is not any new tax. This is, Stacy and I were talking, this is pretty routine in terms of what happens here. You
Yes.
want to say a little bit?
No, I was just gonna say that we did roll forward last year, so now we're just levying them. I think they do assessment
Yes.
every year, every 4 years. So this is just levying the tax for 2021.
Okay. Questions or comments, council? Public comments? All right, moving on. That's just introduction. All right, next, we have a motion to amend the agenda to add ordinance number 025. And I guess before we hear that motion, potential motion, does anybody in the public object to amending the agenda? All right. Now, council, if you will, if you could.
Mayor, I so move that we amend the agenda to add ordinance number 25, 2021 to the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Y'all got any comment about that? Good. All right. Roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
And the next item on the agenda is item number 25, Councilman Harrington.
This is ordinance number 25 of 2021, an ordinance providing for the incurring of debt and issuance of sales tax refunding bonds, Series 2, 2021 of the City of Natchitoches, State of Louisiana, prescribing the form, terms, and conditions of said bonds, providing for the acceptance of an offer for the purchase of said bonds, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. I believe this is for introduction, correct?
That's right.
And I believe we have someone here to speak on it.
Well, we do have Mr. Busada.
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier, should he speak or not? So, Mr. Busada, I'll let you.
I'll make it very quick.
Okay.
And just say basically, last week, we were doing this at a record speed, mainly because Capital One is only allowing us to do this refinancing early, about 8 years early, because we've agreed to get it done by May 25th. And so I was talking to Attorney Washington earlier. I think this is probably one of the fastest ones either of us have seen done. But if we can, by doing it like this, we're going to be able to save the city about $290,000. And so we're doing everything we can, burning the midnight oil to get this done. This is just the introduction, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks to have to actually have the public hearing and then the vote on this to move forward.
And I believe, as you mentioned a couple weeks ago, it's in the interest rate where the savings will be, right?
Correct,
Mhm.
correct. So it's about $290,000 worth of savings. You're going from about, and don't quote me on this, but it's about a 3.75 down to about a 2 point, actually, let's see right here. It's a 3.29, and you're going down to a, you're going from 3.7 to a 3.29.
Okay.
And so it's and again, you typically are not allowed to do this, call these early. Capital One has been willing to work with the town, with the city, and allow us to do this early, which is really a nice gesture, and we appreciate that.
Great. So nearly 300,000 in savings. Awesome. Any questions, comments from Mr. Busada while he's here? That's good. Okay, thank you, Mr. Busada.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. All right, next item on the agenda is item number 31. Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Resolution number 031 of 2021, a resolution authorized the mayor to advertise and accept the bid of consisting of the runway 725, a taxway B1 reconstruction airport improvement program. Whereas the city wishes to advertise the public bids consisting of the runway 725 and taxway B reconstruction airport improvement program 3210034 and 025-2001, bid number 063. And whereas the city will accept the sealed electronic bids for the projects until 2 p.m. Wednesday, May the 26th of 2021 at the office of the Director of the Publisher, processing of 400 Sabine Street. And now that we resolved that the city of Natchitoches is legal sessions convened that the Honorable Mayor Ronnie Williams Jr. may be hereby authorized and empowered to direct in order to publish it of their approval of the bid. And I think Mr. Edley can explain more of the resolution 0031.
Okay, Ed can, but I talked to Ed today too, so let me give it a try. All right, I found out today that this is a potentially dangerous situation, and I don't think we've had any work done to runway 7-25 since Ed's coming here. This is a $3 million project. 95% of it is going to be paid for by the FAA. 5% is going to be paid for by the LADOTD. So none of it is going to be paid from local dollars with that. And just to kind of inform, runway is where you land and take off, and your taxiway helps to connect with the runway. So this is going to make it a lot safer, I believe, Ed.
That's correct.
All right, I guess we'll let you say something now.
Okay, yeah, taxiway B1, that will be built. There is no taxiway there. The hangars on the north side of the airport, any aircraft leaving those hangars have to enter directly into the runway, and it's not on either end. It's in the middle part of the runway, which is not ideal. So taxiway B1 will allow the airplanes coming out of these hangars to taxi to the east and enter the runway on that end, or on, you can get around to the other runway. So it prevents airplanes from entering directly onto the runway. So if somebody, because we're not a towered airport, so if somebody is not paying attention and not listening to their radios, there's a chance, that there could be an accident on the runway. So this is a safety matter. Plus runway 725, which is the east-west runway, hasn't had anything more than a seal coat or striping in many, many years. The runway's alligator cracking on it, and the FAA wants to mill up and rebuild that runway.
Okay, good, thank you. Good job, Ed. Anybody else want to ask Mr. Ed some questions? No. Good, counsel? All right, any public comments? Roll call vote. Did we get a motion?
No, we need a motion.
We need a motion.
second.
So, Ms. Eli,
Did
Yeah,
you move,
I
Ms.
moved.
Eli?
okay.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Okay, Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, next item on the agenda is item number 32. Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 32 of 2021, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 1 to the contract between the City of Natchitoches and ASB Utility for the water treatment system renovations, backwash effluent transfer system, bid number 0626. Whereas the City of Natchitoches awarded the bid to ASB Utility Construction on August 10th, 2020 by ordinance number 43 of 2020 in the amount of $682,400 for the water treatment renovation. Backwash effluent transfer system, bid number 0626. And whereas on April 7, 2021, contractor issued change order number 1 fully described in Attachment A. And whereas the contract sum will be increased by this change order, number one, in the amount of $8,598, and the revised contract total will be $690,998. And whereas the project engineer, Henry Schuler, has recommended this change, and whereas the city is of the opinion that change order number one is in the best interest of the city. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Natchitoches in legal session convened that the Honorable Ronnie Williams, Jr., Mayor, being is hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to execute the reference change order number one to the agreement between the City of Natchitoches and the contractor, ASB Utility Construction. And I move that we adopt resolution number 32 of 2021.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. I am informed that this bid was about $100,000 cheaper than the other bid that we had out there. I think it's been slowed down, the work has, because of the coronavirus. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. And the whole deal is about to stop putting silt in Chaplin's Lake. And so what we've done, and what's going to happen, is added borings under 2 trees, and they are just about finished with the job. So you'll see in the math here under change order number one, basically a difference. I guess it was a uptick in the 14, but then we got an underrun with the 6,300 or so. So, Matt, I tried to do my best. Go ahead.
Does anybody have any questions?
Okay. Any public comments? All right, I think we got a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Eli?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
PT?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Item number 34, Councilman Harrington.
Excuse me. I think we're
Did I
on
skip?
33.
I skipped 33. Oh, yeah. Item number 33, that's right. Councilman PT.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 033 of 2021. A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 5 to the contract between the City of Natchitoches and Regional Construction, LLC, for Phase 3 street rehabilitation.
Okay.
And I so move that resolution number 33 be adopted.
Second.
We're used to having cost overrun. This is a cost underrun of nearly $600. And talking to Nick Verrett, our city engineer today, said this is pretty much a normal thing that happens typically at the end of a job. And that's where they are right now with Phase 3. We're at the end of the total project. So I don't know if there's any other comments or questions, council, that you have?
No, we're
Okay.
getting a savings, so.
Yeah, kind of change order we like to see.
Yes.
All right, nothing else. We did get a motion and second. No public comments. Roll call vote.
Eli?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
PT?
Yes.
Now we get to move to item number 34. All right, Councilman Harrington.
Resolution number 34 of 2021, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept and execute a grant agreement from the Federal Aviation Administration for the Airport Coronavirus Relief Grant Program awarded to the Natchitoches Regional Airport. I move to adopt the 34 of 2021.
A second.
We got a second? Okay.
Second.
Great. Motion has been made and seconded. This is really about income, salary loss due to the coronavirus pandemic. That's in a nutshell, right, Mr. Lee?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So,
I mean, it's just, because of the coronavirus, it's to offset some of the expenses and unexpected expenses at the airport. And it can be used for pretty much anything with the operations of the airport.
$13,000. Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. Seeing no comments or questions? None from the public either? All right, roll call vote.
Eli?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
PT?
Yes.
Last item on the agenda tonight is item number 35, and Councilwoman at Large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 35 of 2021 is a resolution appointing Garrett Anderson to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Tom Matushin as a member of the Mayor's Health and Fitness Council for the City of Natchitoches. Whereas Mr. Tom Matushin submitted his resignation to the Mayor's Health and Fitness Council on February 25th, 2021, and whereas the Natchitoches City Council wishes to appoint Mr. Garrett Anderson as a member of the Mayor's Health and Fitness Council, and now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Natchitoches in legal session convened does hereby appoint Garrett Anderson to fill the unexpired term of Tom Matushin as a member of the Mayor's Health and Fitness Council for the City of Natchitoches. Now so move for adoption, this resolution 035.
Second.
Okay, great. Motion made and seconded. Mr. Tom Matushka, basically conflict in time, taking on greater role, responsibility, and just didn't have really the time to serve on the Mayor's Health and Fitness Council. So Mr. Matushka recommended Mr. Anderson because we still feel that we needed somebody from NRMC. It just makes sense on the Health and Fitness Council. And Mr. Garrett Anderson, he's a Therapy Services Director at Natchitoches Regional Medical Center. He's also Sports Medicine Collaboration. So we spoke, and I think he's very excited. He's got some ideas about helping to make Natchitoches a healthier place. And yeah, I think he'll be a great fit for the Mayor's Health and Fitness Council. But I don't know if y'all have any comments or questions, Council? Nope. Okay. Any public comments? All right. Roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. We do have a few announcements. You see the one printed there. Our next meeting is Monday, May 10th, and then you also see the public hearing, which is going to be on May 10th. It's going to be at 4:30 for the budget hearing. We've also added another one. Just try to do it outside of that time. 4:30 could be tight for some people, so 6 p.m. at the Natchitoches Event Center. I've got Miss Debbie Miley. She's created a citizen's budget that makes budgeting as understandable as it can be. We'll also discuss some of the tentative plans with the American Rescue Funds. We'll talk about that as well, provide a chart for you. So it's a little brochure that's been developed. I think there's going to be, hopefully residents would appreciate that. All right, you see we got on May 5th, we got the district cleanest city contest coming up on that day. And then you saw the other two announcements as well. Just want to thank everybody publicly who participated in the Earth Day. I think we had a great turnout from the city and others as well, folks, kids from St. Mary's, and we also went to, I think, Elementary Lab as well, and there were others who were doing some things as well to help with the cleanup. We planted a tree at the Triangle also, so again, just grateful for everybody who took part in that. I think we have a representative, and he is a patient man. It's not on the agenda, so please allow me some mayoral privilege here, but we've got a Hopeville representative. Is that correct? Yes, sir. So I think council want to hear, and also residents certainly don't mind, if you would give us an update so far.
Sure. Chris Ainsworth, project architect, Wallace Architects, for the work on 2nd Street project at Hopeville, as you guys know, on 2nd Street. 40 affordable housing units going in. Quick update. So since our last time here, roughly February, we've resubmitted to the fire marshal because through COVID and everything, they kind of closed down last year. We had to resubmit pretty much fully. We got a new reviewer, got that done about the 22nd of February. Got a response from the fire marshal, a little bit of back and forth with them, but around about middle of March. Received a fire marshal response directing us to completely resubmit the community building. So all the other buildings we have approval from, we could go ahead and submit those to you guys now if you'd like. But the community building, we had a few efficiencies. We're gonna revise the restrooms a little bit, make it a little bit larger. I don't know how familiar you guys are with it. We're putting in a new community building at the northeast of the property. So that's kind of an update on Fire Marshal, where we are. On 325, myself and the contractor met with a new civil engineer out there because we had some, of course, drainage issues, and we were also very concerned about this retaining wall that we have. There's some breaks in the retaining wall, and so we had him evaluate that at the time. We're gonna have about a 20-foot section of that to be replaced, and it's in the back of buildings B and C. So he's designing that now. He also came back out and met with, his name is Brandon Monco, with Monco Bueller. He met with some utility directors. I have Corey Leo, Matthew Anderson, and Sean Colson. So he met with those guys, and the big takeaway from that meeting was with the fire sprinkler system that we have, the new sprinkler system we're putting in, we're gonna need a 6-inch water main to the property. So we're gonna have about 300 feet of 6-inch water main to add. We're adding that now. Of course, that also affects our project budget. But now we're having weekly calls with the investors. They know about this already. They're willing to put the money in and get the project done. If you guys has gone by this week, we're doing some cleanup out there. So they cleaned the parking lots, did a little bit to the landscaping to help out a little bit, giving it some effort right now as we get the design done. My best estimate to get a full set of buildable drawings back into the city for review is gonna be about 1st of June. So, and from there, we can proceed to a closing and get construction started. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions you guys have.
I'm just glad to know that you all are making some progress on that facility over there. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for letting us speak.
How, when can we expect it to kick in gear?
Construction
Because
start.
time has been an issue from day one.
Right. I can't speak for the contractor or the investor, but we can have the drawings in June for permit approval. In my experience, it's a 60 to 90-day process from there to get closed. It has to go to an additional closing because it changed ownership. It changed ownership when we were here before the pandemic.
Are you looking at the end of this year to, I think is what he's asking, do you think like maybe by the end of this year, they may be completed?
It could go in
Into
phases.
2022?
We could complete in phases. We're expecting a 1-year construction time, but it could complete in phases because the buildings are separated and parking lots separated. So that's conceivably possible, yes.
And do you have enough parking?
We have, I was just looking at that, so we have 57 spaces. We're adding some spaces from what's there now. It's gonna be 40 one-bedroom units. And they'll of course be reviewed by your city planner, but it's acceptable with the funding we're using.
So it will pass the fire marshal?
Yes.
Can I ask a question, please? We haven't received anything else. I know that you submitted something a couple of years ago, but the plans that you have now, are they totally different from what you previously submitted?
No, so the only revisions that we'll have is the community building.
Just the community building. So the community building would take up parking, it's gonna change landscaping. Will any of the outside
No, the community building will be in the green space that's at the north side, or the north side of the site.
Okay, is there any way that we can have something submitted to planning and zoning so that we can review what you're planning to do, even before you submit the total project to the State Fire Marshal's office?
Absolutely, yes. I can leave a half set with you tonight if you'd like.
That'd be perfect.
Does it have to go to the Historic Commission too, since it's in the
Well,
Historic
that's what I
District?
was asking, if there are gonna be any changes on the outside of the buildings from what was approved last time. I spoke to someone maybe a couple of weeks ago that said the outside of the structures will not change. But planning and zoning still needs to see where they're gonna submit so that we can evaluate and make sure that they're still in compliance with parking, landscaping, and everything else that we require.
Oh, I was asking separate from planning and zoning, the Historic
Separate from
Commission. Do
planning
they have to
and
go there
zoning.
as well, to the Historic Commission?
If there's something that's gonna change on the outside
see.
of the structures, there's gonna be a new review. But if not, no.
And the plan now is to be exactly like it is there, which
So it doesn't have to go.
it's
to-
not
that's what you're
ideal,
saying.
but that's because of the historic. I mean, and we're happy to meet with local historic if they have ideas that would.
No, they're fine with what you submitted the last time, as long as you're not making changes to the painting or anything like that. As long as nothing's changing on the outside, then you don't have to meet with HDC.
Yeah, in the Historic District, they have very strict guidelines of the colors of paint to use and what the windows look like, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to just,
Standard guidelines.
yeah.
So the major exterior thing is the balconies. We're removing and replacing those with pretty much what's there. So that's, it'll go back just like it is.
What about, when can we expect it to at least be boarded up and kept? Because right now it's still open, which was an issue before.
We can, I'll speak to the owner on the way back tonight, and we'll get that all redone. Because it was cleaned up today. If you guys drive by after tonight, you'll see it does look a lot better.
Well, when you guys are ready to do that, please contact us so that we can set up that information for boarding up the building.
Yes.
Okay.
Report. We're going to do a formal letter to Attorney Washington.
Next month. Yeah, because I think the 90th day y'all were to report back to us, I think it's next month, isn't it? When it, in May?
Yeah, so he's a little early,
Yeah.
maybe, but I mean, no, I'm not necessarily saying early. This is good, though, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? We're good? All right, give me your last name again.
Chris Ainsworth.
Mr. Ainsworth, thank you
Thank
for
you
being
so
here.
much for the time.
Yes, sir, thank you. All right. We are now motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, this meeting is